This is Plant-Based Briefing, The Importance of Fiber in Gut Health and Hormonal Balance, Part 2 by Robbins at foodrevolution.org. And I'm Marian Erickson, host of this curated content plant-based podcast, where I find a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living, get permission, and read them to you here in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And today's article was longer than that, so I read the first half of it yesterday, so go back and listen to that first, and then jump back here for Part 2. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. The Importance of Fiber in Gut Health and Hormonal Balance, Part 2 by Robbins at foodrevolution.org. Fiber, sex hormones, and cancer incidence. Among the hormones impacted by fiber intake are the ones related to reproductive function. Excess circulating levels of these steroidal hormones, such as estrogen and testosterone, are linked to increased cancers of the reproductive organs. Hormones, fiber, and breast cancer. Many studies have shown that high circulating levels of insulin and its close relative insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1, are risk factors for breast cancer. So how do you get high IGF-1 levels? One way is by consuming a lot of animal products which don't contain any fiber. And if you consume dairy from cow's milk, you may also be pumping up your IGF-1 levels because of a synthetic hormone called recombinant bovine growth hormone, or RBGH. This drug is often given to cows to increase their milk production and make them mature more quickly. Certain types of breast cancer are also affected by sex hormones such as estrogen. In fact, estrogen receptor-positive breast cancer is the most common subtype of breast cancer. Diet affects both of these risk factors. There have been multiple studies showing that the more fiber you eat, the lower your risk of breast cancer. These include the Giant Nurses Health Study 2, which found an inverse relation between fiber and breast cancer in over 44,000 nurses. And a 2020 meta-analysis of 20 studies calculated an 8% reduction in breast cancer risk for those who ate the most fiber compared to those who ate the least. The 2020 paper also identified a healthy gut microbiome, specifically including bacteria from the Firmicutes, Bacteroidetes, and Actinobacteria phyla, as the mediating mechanism between fiber consumption and the reduction in breast cancer risk. Several biological mechanisms may explain the beneficial effects of dietary fiber on breast cancer risk. Fiber may decrease breast cancer incidence by controlling blood glucose and improving insulin sensitivity. It may also increase serum concentrations of sex hormone-binding globulin, SHBG, thereby reducing the circulating levels of estrogen in the body. Also, dietary fiber can shuttle estrogen out of the body by triggering more frequent and larger bowel movements, since excess hormones leave the body through excrement. Fiber and prostate cancer. The fact that fiber increases SHBG is relevant to prostate cancer as well as breast cancer. SHBG binds the sex hormones testosterone and estradiol and decreases their biological activity, which can reduce the risk of aggressive prostate cancer. In fact, it turns out that many diagnoses of prostate cancer are hormonally linked. Sex steroids, particularly androgens such as testosterone, appear to contribute to the development and progression of prostate cancer. Again, the consumption of animal protein, which I repeat contains zero fiber, correlates with an increased risk of prostate cancer and greater odds of recurrence after remission. As with breast cancer, this is likely due at least in part to increased levels of circulating IGF-1. On the other hand, a plant-based diet can lower IGF-1 levels, putting men at a lower risk for prostate cancer. A 2012 study found that increased total insoluble and soluble fiber intake were all associated with a lower risk of aggressive forms of prostate cancer. A large study that followed over 43,000 Japanese men for almost 12 years found that fiber intake may be protective against aggressive prostate cancer, and the protective association was greatest in those who consumed the most fiber. The improved insulin sensitivity that fiber induces can also reduce that risk. Insulin may affect cancer development by influencing cell division and decreasing insulin-like growth factor IGF binding proteins, which increase the bioactivity of IGF-1. Learn more about IGF-1, including how it works and how to bring IGF-1 levels down in your body, linked here. Fiber, satiety hormones, and obesity. We've known for a while that fiber can help fight obesity, but we're discovering that one of the mechanisms by which it does so is via hormones produced in the gut microbiome. For example, fiber intake predicts ghrelin levels in people with obesity. Ghrelin is a gut hormone produced and released by your stomach. It's your stomach's way of telling the brain, hey, I'm empty, it's time to eat, create the sensation of hunger. Ghrelin plays an important role in promoting fat development, so it makes sense its dysregulation could influence the development of metabolic disturbances associated with diet-induced obesity. In lean, healthy people, ghrelin levels increase before meals and drop after eating. In contrast, in people with obesity, insulin resistance, or type 2 diabetes, fasting ghrelin levels are lower and don't show much, if any, variation. In fact, ghrelin levels either drop less or not at all after eating in obese people compared with lean ones. One older study showed that variation in ghrelin levels was positively associated with fiber intake. In fact, fiber consumption had as much influence on ghrelin levels as total calories consumed, even though fiber doesn't provide calories. So a high fiber intake increases the perception of satiety, reduces appetite, and lowers food intake. This effect could be due to fiber's ability to slow down the process of moving food through the stomach. Decreased gastric emptying, as this phenomenon is called, or if you prefer, you can just think of it like stuff stays in your tummy for longer, allows the stomach to pull out more nutrients more effectively and therefore downregulates hunger, since the stomach is getting what it needs and doesn't need the brain to call for more. Fiber may also impact levels of another hunger-related hormone, leptin. Leptin functions as a counterweight to ghrelin. It's secreted by fat cells and signals the brain to decrease sensations of hunger. When leptin levels are high for a long time due to excess fat, the body can stop paying attention to its message of stop eating. One way to help people overcome obesity is to lower their leptin levels and stop leptin resistance so their bodies can reestablish a balance. It's like if someone has been shouting at you for so long that you no longer pay attention to them, unless they stop shouting for a while, you'll have a hard time listening to them ever again. A small 2017 study of overweight adults found that adding resistant starch to a moderate to high-fat diet lowered leptin levels, and a larger 2021 study of 17-year-olds also found that higher fiber intake was significantly associated with lower leptin. This may contribute to reductions in low-grade chronic inflammation and improved health outcomes, such as the prevention of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Fiber-rich and hormone-balancing recipes. Fiber is in a wide range of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains, which are all designed to supply your body with the nutrients it needs to live a happy, healthy, and balanced life. Speaking of balance, regulate your hormones with ease as you enjoy these tasty, fiber-filled recipes for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and maybe a tasty afternoon fiber-filled snack too. All recipes linked here. Oatmeal banana bites, smoky sweet potato black bean salad, and Moroccan bulgur bowl with savory orange dressing. Keep your hormones balanced with fiber. The microbiome plays an important role in human health, including influencing hormonal balance. And one of the biggest controllable factors in the health of your microbiome is fiber. Prebiotic fiber, in particular, feeds good gut bacteria that help keep your hormones where they need to be. Fiber also helps your digestive system stay healthy and get rid of waste, which includes spent and excess hormones. Getting enough fiber doesn't just have a positive impact on hormonal levels, it can also help prevent chronic diseases and conditions like type 2 diabetes, cancer, and obesity. By eating foods with various types of soluble and insoluble fiber, you can keep your body's information switchboard running smoothly and effectively without disruption in hormonal balance. You just listened to The Importance of Fiber in Gut Health and Hormonal Balance, Part 2 by Ocean Robbins at foodrevolution.org. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson, and I've done a ton of other episodes about fiber. If you go to plantbasedbriefing.com/episodes and type fiber in the search field, those will come up, but I'll link some of them in the show notes, including 633 and 634, Are Starches Good or Bad? 498 and 499, 5 Simple Ways to Improve Kids' Gut Health. 420, The Potential Harm in Unnecessary Gluten-Free Diets. 320, How to Keep Your Microbiome Healthy with Prebiotic Foods and the 5-to-1 Fiber Rule. 269, Fiber Fueled, The Key to a Strong Immune System. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.